The massive underground facility beneath the Ural Mountains hummed with activity as Admiral Natalia Volkov strode through its titanium-reinforced corridors. Her boots clicked against the polished floor, each step echoing with purpose. The Earth Defense Initiative facility, known only to a select few, had been preparing for this moment for decades. "Admiral," Lieutenant Rodriguez called out, his voice tight with urgency. "The quantum arrays just picked up multiple signatures dropping out of FTL at the edge of our solar system." Natalia didn't break stride as she entered the command center, her silver-streaked black hair pulled back in a severe bun. The massive holographic display dominated the center of the room, showing a dozen red dots approaching Earth's orbit. "Classification?" she asked, though she already knew the answer. They'd been expecting this ever since they decoded the alien transmissions 3 years ago. "Craxus vessels, ma'am. Hunter-class ships. They're running silent, but our quantum sensors are picking up their wake signatures." Rodriguez's fingers danced across his haptic interface, bringing up detailed scans. Natalia allowed herself a small smile. The Craxus, renowned throughout the galaxy as apex predators, had finally found Earth. They didn't know that humanity had been monitoring their communications, learning their tactics, and preparing countermeasures. "How many young hunters?" she asked, studying the vessel configurations. "At least 30, plus their handler. Looks like a training expedition." Colonel Patel approached, tablet in hand. "They're following the standard Craxus hunting protocols we intercepted." "Perfect." Natalia turned to address the command center. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we've been preparing for. The Craxus think they've found an easy target for their young to practice on. They expect primitive prey. Instead, they're going to learn why humanity survived every predator Earth could throw at us." She pulled up the tactical display, showing the hidden defense platforms scattered throughout the solar system. Centuries of paranoia had led humanity to militarize space long before they knew aliens existed. Now that preparation would serve them well. "Begin Operation Reversal," she ordered. "Colonel Patel, activate the planetary stealth grid. Lieutenant Rodriguez, initiate the quantum masking field. Let's make sure our visitors only see what we want them to see." Across the globe, hidden installations powered up. Quantum field generators began weaving an artificial reality that would be fed to the Craxus sensors. They would see exactly what they expected, a primitive civilization with basic spaceflight capability and minimal defensive systems. "Admiral," a young analyst called out, "we're detecting landing preparations from the lead vessel. They're heading for the designated Zone Alpha in the Siberian wilderness." Natalia nodded. The landing zone had been carefully prepared over the last year. Every tree, every rock, every blade of grass had been mapped and rigged. The hunting grounds were ready, but not for the prey the Craxus expected to find. "Signal Commander Harrison's team," she ordered. "Tell them their guests are arriving." Deep in the Siberian forest, Commander James Harrison and his Special Forces team were already in position. Their adaptive camouflage suits made them virtually invisible, and their quantum-shielded equipment was undetectable to Craxus sensors. The first Craxus ship descended through the atmosphere, its sleek predatory form reflecting the morning sun. The young hunters aboard were about to learn a crucial lesson about their place in the galactic food chain. They thought they were apex predators, but they had never encountered humanity before. As the ship touched down, Natalia opened a secure channel to all EDI forces. "Remember your training. Let them think they're in control. Let them spread out. Let them hunt. Then show them what it means to be hunted by humanity." The Craxus vessel's landing ramp descended, releasing steam into the crisp morning air. The first of the young hunters emerged, their armor gleaming, their weapons primed. They moved with the confidence of apex predators who had never known fear. That was about to change. Warlord Xerix stood on the bridge of his command vessel, his scaled skin shimmering with anticipation as he watched his young charges prepare for their first hunt. The viewing screen showed the lush Siberian landscape below, a perfect hunting ground for training the next generation of Craxus warriors. Remember, he addressed the assembled young hunters, his voice resonating with centuries of tradition. Humans are barely above prey classification. Their greatest achievement was reaching their own moon. They still fight with projectile weapons and fossil fuels. His mandibles clicked in amusement. Young Hunter Krell stepped forward, his ceremonial hunting blades gleaming against his obsidian armor. Huntmaster, what of their military capabilities? Primitive, Xerix dismissed with a wave of his clawed hand. Their most advanced weapons rely on chemical propulsion and crude atomic devices. Nothing that can penetrate our shields. He activated the holographic display, showing thermal scans of the surrounding forest. We'll start with basic tracking exercises. Human settlements are scattered throughout this region. Find one, observe their patterns, then select a suitable specimen for the hunt. The young hunters chittered excitedly, checking their plasma weapons and activating their stealth fields. None of them noticed the slight shimmer in the air as their sensors were fed carefully crafted false readings by Earth's quantum masking network. First team, deploy, Xerix commanded. 5 young hunters descended the ship's ramp, their movements precise and practiced. Among them was Vex, top of his hunting class and already marked for future leadership. His sensor suite scanned the surrounding forest, picking up what appeared to be human heat signatures several kilometers to the north. Huntmaster, Vex reported, I'm detecting a small group of humans, likely hunters themselves. Perfect for assessing their capabilities. Xerix nodded approvingly. Proceed, but remember the ancient protocols. We study our prey before striking. Learn their weaknesses. Make the hunt worthy of recording in the great archives. The hunting party moved through the forest with practiced stealth, their advanced armor adapting to match the surrounding vegetation. They felt like invisible gods, stalking primitive prey that couldn't possibly detect their presence. 2 kilometers away, Sergeant Anna Petrova watched their movement through quantum-enhanced optics. Her team had been tracking the aliens since they landed, feeding them false signals, leading them exactly where Commander Harrison wanted them. They're following the breadcrumbs, sir, she whispered into her neural comm, moving toward Trap Point Alpha. Acknowledged, Harrison's voice replied in her mind. Remember, we want them to feel in control. Let them think they're the hunters until the last possible moment. The young Craxus hunters approached what appeared to be a primitive human campsite. A fire smoldered, cooking equipment lay scattered, and thermal signatures suggested the humans had only recently moved on. Look at this primitive technology, one young hunter named Thek scoffed, picking up a battered compass. They still navigate by magnetic fields. Vex studied the ground, noting the obvious trail leading deeper into the forest. They're not even trying to hide their tracks. This almost seems too easy. They don't know any better, another hunter, Zara, replied. Remember the briefing? Humans never evolved as prey species. They've never had to deal with superior predators. In the EDI command center, Admiral Volkov watched the alien hunters follow the carefully laid trail. Every broken twig, every footprint, every scattered piece of equipment had been meticulously placed to tell a story, the story of easy prey, ripe for hunting. They're so confident, Lieutenant Rodriguez observed, monitoring the quantum feed. They haven't even considered that this might be a trap. Pride, Volkov replied, is the deadliest weakness of any predator. They're so convinced of their superiority that they can't imagine being hunted themselves. She turned to Colonel Patel. Status of Phase 2. Harrison's teams are in position. Quantum mines are armed but masked. The neural disruptor grid is ready. We can shut down their tech the moment you give the word. The young Craxus hunters continued forward, moving deeper into the prepared killing ground. Their sensors showed them exactly what humanity wanted them to see, their confidence growing with each step. They were the galaxy's apex predators, after all. What could they possibly have to fear from primitive humans? Above them, hidden in the canopy, Sergeant Petrova's team readied their weapons. The quantum-shielded rifles were specifically designed to penetrate Kraxus armor, developed from years of studying their technology. Soon, the hunters would learn what it meant to become the hunted. Warlord Xerix watched from his command ship, swelling with pride at his charge's methodical approach. This would be a hunt worthy of the archives, a perfect first blood for the next generation of Kraxus warriors. He had no way of knowing that every moment, every movement, every confident step was being orchestrated by the very prey they thought themselves superior to. Humanity wasn't just ready for them, they had been waiting, preparing, and now, finally, the trap was about to spring. Vex raised his clawed hand, signaling his hunting party to halt. The human tracks had led them into a narrow valley, moss-covered rocks rising on either side. Their sensors showed 5 human heat signatures just ahead, moving slowly, apparently unaware of their pursuit. Perfect killing ground, Vex whispered, his hunting ridges quivering with excitement. They've trapped themselves. In the shadows above, Commander Harrison watched through his quantum-enhanced optics as the alien hunters fell perfectly into position. His neural implant pulsed softly as he communicated with his team. All units, final positions. Remember, timing is everything. The Kraxus hunters moved forward with predatory grace, their advanced armor adapting to match the surrounding terrain. Vex activated his plasma rifle's targeting system, selecting what appeared to be the largest human heat signature. Huntmaster, he sub-vocalized to Xerix, we have them cornered. Permission to begin the hunt. On his command ship, Xerix felt a surge of pride. Permission granted. Show them the superiority of Kraxus hunters. Make it clean, make it quick. Vex raised his weapon, his targeting system locking onto the heat signature. That's when everything changed. The quantum masking field dropped like a curtain, revealing the truth of their situation. The heat signatures vanished, replaced by the cold, hard reality of combat drones. The valley walls shimmered as adaptive camouflage deactivated, revealing dozens of heavily armed human soldiers in advanced combat suits. Now, Harrison commanded. Quantum mines activated simultaneously, creating a web of energy that disrupted the Kraxus hunters' shield systems. Their advanced armor, suddenly stripped of its power, became dead weight. What is this? Vex screamed, his weapon firing wildly as the targeting systems failed. Huntmaster, we're under attack. Sergeant Petrova's voice echoed through the valley, broadcast in perfect Kraxus language, welcome to Earth, hunters. Let's see how you fare as prey. Precision fire rained down from multiple positions. The quantum-enhanced rounds, specifically designed to penetrate Kraxus armor, found their marks with devastating accuracy. Vex fell first, his armor breached in 3 places. Retreat. Vex ordered, attempting to activate his emergency teleporter. Nothing happened. The quantum disruption field had sealed off all their escape options. On his command ship, Xerix watched in horror as the sensor feeds from his young hunters showed the true extent of their situation. Impossible, he growled. These are primitives. They shouldn't have this technology. Admiral Volkov's voice cut through their communications network, cold and precise. You should have done better research, Warlord Xerix. Humans aren't prey. We're the species that survived every predator our world could throw at us. We're the ones who turned hunting into an art form. And now, you're in our killing ground. Harrison's teams moved with practiced precision, herding the panicked young hunters into prepared containment zones. Their weapons, designed for hunting much less sophisticated prey, proved ineffective against humanity's quantum-shielded armor. Zara managed to fire off a distress signal before a neural disruptor round knocked her unconscious. Huntmaster, they knew we were coming. They prepared for us. Of course we did, Colonel Patel's voice joined the communication network. We've been monitoring your species for years. Every transmission, every hunting expedition, every piece of technology, we studied it all. Did you really think you were the first predatory species to find Earth? Vex, the last hunter standing, found himself surrounded by human soldiers. Their armor was unlike anything he'd seen before, a perfect blend of form and function. These weren't the primitives they'd been briefed about. These were apex predators in their own right. Surrender, Harrison offered, his quantum rifle trained on Vex's head. There's no shame in admitting you underestimated your prey. In orbit, Xerix faced a terrible decision. His command ship sensors were suddenly showing the true face of Earth's defenses, orbital platforms, quantum weapon arrays, and a fleet of ships that had been invisible moments before. Admiral Volkov's voice came again, "You have two choices, Warlord. Surrender and learn from this experience, or become another cautionary tale about species that thought they could hunt humans." The young hunter Vex, his pride shattered but his survival instincts intact, dropped his weapon. The sound of it hitting the forest floor echoed through the valley like the closing notes of an ancient hunting song. The hunt wasn't over, but the roles had been permanently reversed. Would you like me to continue with part 4? We're building toward the climactic confrontation between humanity's defenders and the Craxus leadership. Warlord Xerix paced the bridge of his command ship, rage and disbelief warring in his mind. The holographic displays showed his worst nightmare: 6 of his young hunters captured, 3 wounded, and the humans' true military capability finally revealed in all its terrifying glory. "Launch rescue teams," he commanded, his voice hoarse with fury. "We will not be humiliated by prey species." "I wouldn't do that if I were you," Admiral Volkov's voice came through their communication system again. The quantum encryption that should have been unbreakable had been compromised long ago. "Look closer at your orbital sensors." As if on cue, hundreds of satellites shimmered into existence around Earth, their quantum masking fields dropping in sequence. Each one bristled with weapons specifically designed to counter Craxus technology. Lieutenant Rodriguez's voice joined the channel. "Fun fact about humans, Warlord. We're paranoid. We spent centuries preparing for alien invasions before we even knew you existed. Every science fiction story, every movie about alien contact, they all became blueprints for defense systems. In the Siberian forest, Commander Harrison's teams were systematically securing the hunting ground. The captured young Craxus were being treated by medical teams. Humanity had no interest in unnecessary cruelty. "Sir," Sergeant Petrova reported, "we're detecting power spikes from their ship. They might be preparing for a desperation move." Harrison nodded, his neural implant already connecting him to the EDI command network. "Admiral, they're getting twitchy up there." "Understood," Volkov replied. She turned to Colonel Patel. "Initiate Phase 4. Let's show them exactly what they're dealing with." Across the globe, hidden installations activated. Quantum fields shifted, revealing humanity's true technological advancement. Massive defense platforms rose from the oceans, cities deployed energy shields, and the true face of human military might became visible to the stunned Craxus. On his ship, Xerix received a priority transmission from the Craxus High Command. His mandibles clicked in shock as he read it. The humans hadn't just prepared for this hunt, they had been feeding false information to the Craxus Empire for years. "Your species," he growled at Volkov's holographic image, "you orchestrated all of this. You wanted us to come." "Of course we did," Volkov replied, her smile cold. "We needed to send a message. Earth isn't a hunting ground. It's not a training facility for your young. It's the homeworld of a species that turned survival into an art form." In orbit, Xerix's sensors detected new signatures. Ships were emerging from quantum tunnels, but not human ships. Other alien vessels, some he recognized, others completely unknown. "Did you think we were isolated?" Colonel Patel's voice held a note of amusement. "We've been trading with other species for decades. Species that also got tired of Craxus hunting parties treating the galaxy like their private game preserve." Harrison's voice joined the channel. "Your young hunters will be released unharmed, Warlord. They'll return with a message: Earth is off limits. In fact, this entire sector is now under our protection. The quantum screens showed more ships arriving, a coalition fleet of species that had suffered from Craxus predation. Humanity hadn't just defended itself, it had become the catalyst for a fundamental change in galactic power dynamics. Xerix, his pride shattered but his tactical mind still sharp, recognized the shift in power. The humans hadn't just beaten his hunters, they had outmaneuvered his entire species on a galactic scale. The age of uncontested Craxus hunts is over, Volkov declared. You have 1 hour to collect your wounded and leave Earth space. And when you return to your high command, tell them this: the next time they want to test a species' capabilities, they should try diplomacy first. It's less embarrassing than being turned from hunter to prey. In the forest below, Vex, the captured young hunter, watched in amazement as human medical teams treated his injured companions with professional efficiency. These weren't the primitives they had been taught about. These were beings who had taken the concept of hunting and elevated it to a level the Craxus had never imagined. Learn from this, Harrison told him quietly. Your species isn't evil, you're just used to being the apex predator. But here's the thing about humans, we never take that position for granted. We're always preparing, always advancing, always ready for a bigger predator to appear. The hunt was over, but its implications would echo through the galaxy for generations to come. Would you like me to continue with the final part? We'll wrap up the story and show the lasting consequences of humanity's revelation to the galactic community. 1 month after the failed hunt, Admiral Volkov stood before the United Earth Council, her uniform adorned with the new insignia of the Galactic Defense Initiative. The chamber was packed with representatives from both human nations and alien species who had joined Earth's coalition. The Craxus Empire has formally acknowledged our territorial claims, she announced, her voice carrying through the vast chamber. More importantly, 17 previously independent species have requested our protection and technology sharing. In the diplomatic gallery, Vex sat alongside other young Craxus who had been captured during the hunt. They were no longer prisoners, but students. Part of the peace agreement included a cultural exchange program, though everyone understood it was really about showing the Craxus a better way. The galaxy is changing, Volkov continued. For too long, the Craxus operated on an outdated principle, that might makes right, that the strong prey on the weak. We've shown them a different paradigm. In orbit, Lieutenant Rodriguez supervised the construction of the new Galactic Defense Academy. The massive station would serve as both a training facility and a symbol of the new order. Ships from dozens of species arrived daily, bringing students eager to learn from the species that had outmaneuvered the legendary Craxus hunters. Humanity's greatest strength, Colonel Patel explained to a group of alien diplomats, was never our technology or our weapons. It was our ability to imagine threats and prepare for them. Every story we told, every movie we made about alien invasions, they all contributed to our readiness. Deep in the Siberian facility, Commander Harrison worked with a mixed group of human and alien tactical specialists. The hunting ground had been converted into a training facility, teaching defensive techniques to species that had lived too long in fear of becoming prey. The key, he explained to his diverse students, is understanding that there's no such thing as an invincible predator. Every hunter can become the hunted. Every advantage can become a weakness if you're not constantly evolving. Warlord Xerix, now serving as the Craxus ambassador to Earth, watched these training sessions with a mixture of humility and growing respect. We thought we were teaching our young to be predators, he admitted to Sergeant Petrova. Instead, we taught them to be predictable. In the streets of Earth's cities, humans and aliens walked together openly. The quantum masking fields that had hidden Earth's true nature were now used selectively, protecting sensitive installations while allowing open cultural exchange. The real victory, Admiral Volkov told the Council, isn't that we stopped one hunting party. It's that we've created a new model for galactic civilization. One based on mutual defense and shared advancement, rather than predation and dominance. Vex stood at the end of the session, addressing the council in carefully practiced human English. My people have a saying, the greatest hunter knows every aspect of their prey. We thought we understood humans, but we only saw what we wanted to see. You weren't just prepared for hunters like us, you were prepared for threats we couldn't even imagine. The quantum sensors that had once detected the Craxus invasion now served as an early warning network for the entire coalition. Earth had become not just a defended world, but a defender of worlds. Let this be the lesson, Volkov concluded, that echoes through the galaxy. Earth is not a hunting ground. Humanity is not prey. We are the shield that protects, the teachers who elevate, and when necessary, the predator that hunts the hunters. In the years that followed, the story of the failed Craxus hunt became a cornerstone of galactic history. Not because of the technology revealed or the tactics employed, but because it marked the moment when the galaxy's paradigm shifted. The age of uncontested hunting was over, replaced by an era of cooperation and mutual defense. The last entry in the great archives of the Craxus read simply, "On the day we thought we found perfect prey, we instead found perfect teachers." The greatest hunt is not for dominance, but for understanding. And in the quantum-shielded facilities of Earth, humanity continued to prepare, innovate, and advance, not just for themselves now, but for all the species who had joined their coalition. Because they understood a fundamental truth, in a galaxy full of predators, the most dangerous thing you could be was predictable. The hunt was over. The age of cooperation had begun. But humanity never stopped watching the stars, never stopped preparing for the next threat. Because that's what had made them great in the first place, not their ability to hunt, but their drive to survive, protect, and thrive.